Alright, I ate two turkey burgers just now, so I might be a little slow, but I'm still doing this because afterwards I'm gonna do my journaling, manga reading, stargazing, and going to bed. So, we're doing this right now. But I just got done watching Gladiator 2, and big, big, uh, I, I guess you can call it a theme that was as pressed upon on repeatedly throughout the film was strength. Strength and honor, as they say. As the gladiators say, strength and honor, strength and honor. Anyways, strength in particular. And I find that interesting because throughout the film they talk about, at the very beginning, spoilers. If you haven't watched Gladiator 2, it's just out, so spoilers. Okay, you were warned. Um, at the very beginning, in the Roman siege, Nabatea, I think, and that's the protagonist's home, and they pretty much just wipe everyone out and then kill his wife as well. And there's scenes throughout the beginning that the protagonist that highlight the protagonist's rage, that he's doing this out of rage. His vengeance is based on rage. And what I find really interesting, and at the end, and he talks about his belief in strength and honor and rallies everyone through a chant of strength and honor. I find that really interesting because as rage and strength are essentially the same um, concept, but one is used without control, so you have no control over it. So your rage, you let your rage out, and it goes everywhere. So it's kind of like a passion, but in the negative sense. While strength is something that people will tend to be able to control. All of a sudden, you have a lot of strength. That means you're in control of yourself. All that means you're are showing off your power, but you're doing it in a way that you're in complete control of yourself and in control of yourself. And what I'm just realizing is that the protagonist in Gladiator shows that progression from rage, vengeance, and it's the slow progression into what it means to be a strong man, strong individual. Because as in the very beginning, you see this protagonist, and he's almost silent most of the time, but he shows his rage through his violence, how uh, how pretty much violent he is during his fights. And that goes throughout the good 1/3 of the movie, and then you start seeing this progression in the character. He starts to realize his lineage. He also starts to realize that Rome and this is in the gladiators world is not the physical manifestation of what's happening right now, but it's imagined reality that uh, comes about through the people's ideas as in groups coming together to uplift this Roman dream. And once he starts to, it's solidified. Another spoiler. I'm telling you, another spoiler. But he comes to realize this almost fully and understand what it means to be strong with Pedro Pascal's character. And I'm not gonna say his name because I'm gonna butcher it and I don't even remember. But Pedro Pascal's character, whenever they're fighting, and Pedro Pascal surrenders to him and says, "As no, you are the rightful emperor of Rome, and I'd rather die than have to kill you." Because that's another interesting thing in that fight between Pedro Pascal and the protagonist is that uh, the protagonist is filled with rage and he's just trying to slaughter Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal is calm, collected, and cool, and you as the viewer see that he's winning the fight. It's no contest as the protagonist barely getting any blows on him. The Pedro Pascal is deflecting him, pushing him off, kicking him, but in a very defensive and I would say strong manner, and that he's handling the fight with his calm and collected self. And that relates back to everything you see in Stoicism, right? In Stoicism, that's practically the core tenet, and being with the movie referring to Marcus Aurelius and not, it's fitting that Pedro Pascal's character is the embodiment and symbolization of the calm, collected character within the storm of chaos that is happening, especially in a fight. So, going back to the protagonist's growth from rage to strength, he, I think it doesn't say this, but I feel like whenever Pedro Pascal surrendered, he had this. The protagonist had this realization that one, he was going to lose the fight against this guy. Two, that Pedro Pascal represented what Roman honor and strength should be, and that Pedro Pascal, even though protagonist put all this rage and vengeance against Pedro Pascal, all that Pedro Pascal was representing a Rome that was not currently in power. It was his own belief on what Rome should be and what Rome is. And I think the protagonist realized all of that right then and there. So, that's why he decided not to kill Pedro Pascal. And that even though through more than half the movie, 2/3 of the movie, he just wanted his head. At this pinnacle moment, he said, wow, this is what Rome should be like. And he is the embodiment of what Rome should be like. Not one of rage and vengeance and slighting and political upheaval and trying to get backstabbing and using your rage and vengeance and as a tool for a means to end. No. What he realized in Pedro Pascal's character is that everything that is virtuous about being a Roman, and that's honor and strength in the most virtuous of ways. That's why I love Pedro Pascal's character, because he's put in a predicament and right from the get-go, and you could tell even from the first very scenes and of Pedro, oh my god. Okay, let me get into this. In the very beginning scenes, and you see Pedro's character, they're sieging Numidia. I think that's how you pronounce it, Numidia. And he's in this chair on a ship that's seizing it, and he seems kind of smug. He's just sitting there waiting, and then he's giving orders and stuff like that. And your first thought is, oh, this is a Roman general. He's gonna just let everyone else do the work, and he's not gonna do it. And then when they get to the wall, the drawbridge doesn't unfold. And with no hesitation, bang! Pedro Pascal's like, give me that helmet. And gets down from the ladder, or goes to that drawbridge and cuts it open. And that's what I love about this movie so much, is it shows us who these characters are, rather than telling us. As it shows us that Pedro Pascal is a leader that leads by example, by saying, screw this, I'm going to my men, and I'm going to complete the mission. I'm going to be the first one in to kill everyone. And it shows Pedro Pascal uh, as 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 having a sort of strength and calm and collected nature through his fighting style. Whenever he's in the ring and against the protagonist, he's defensive. He's able to manipulate the protagonist's rage and wild flurry of attacks acts by almost like a strategy. And that's the same with the protagonist too. It was like throughout the whole half of the movie, he hardly talks at all because you already know at the viewer I'm not gonna say the P word. He's very angry. He's angry and he's resentful and he wants to take vengeance. And you just know by the eyes and how he fights. He's vicious. And literally whenever he was fighting the monkeys, he bit the flesh of a monkey. He was a wild animal. And then you see him progress as opening up, talking to people. All his uh, his structure, his frame, it's not so tense anymore. It's more relaxed whenever he's with his mother, whenever he's with his friend, and it's just that movie was now that I'm thinking about it and reevaluating Pedro and the protagonist and Denzel Washington and that movie is really good whenever you start by thinking about it. But I want to end off just with this idea of strength, the strength and anger and rage, strength and against rage and being a monster, let's say. Because there was one quote of that I heard from a Jordan Peterson ad, and I heard the first 5 seconds of it, and he said something like, if you're a young man, you need to be a monster. And I think Gladiator 2 is a refute against that. I think it shows that at that instead of being a monster that can't be controlled, that's uncontrollable, that uses his rage without outthinking, and that only has one so narrow vision that he can't think about anything else. That in Gladiator, the theme is that no, you should. It's that rage, that power you have, you should use it as strength. And strength means being calm, collected, but uh, um, expressing your power in certain circumstances whenever it is necessary, but not going over that. Not going to the extreme of I'm gonna hurt someone just to hurt someone, and not going to the extreme of I'm not hurting anyone. No, strength is that pillar, that statue, that defensive wall that you can count on. And that's why I don't think Jordan Peterson's quote of you need to be a monster is necessarily the right wording or correct, is because you more need to be strong. You need to be strong. And you specifically need to go through life trying to find out what that means. And I think Gladiator 2 helped me realize that a little more today on what it means to be a strong man and woman. Strong man and woman. And I'm thankful for that. And now that I got thinking about it, I kind of want to watch Gladiator 1 and 2 again. Just to see that progression of those characters. But yeah. Anyways, I know I rabbled on a little bit. I actually think I'm going to make this into like a Gladiator recap. Gladiator 2 idea about strength, and maybe do some video edits and show some scenes and stuff like that, because that would be pretty cool, because it's starting to become one of my favorite movies right now, just based on like everything we talked about and more as well, because Denzel Washington in that is just fantastic. Anyways, that's all for tonight. I hope you all have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.